describe the typical homeless person?
Not clean. Some of them suffer from some mental disorder. Sometimes they're more aggressive and yelling, but some of them are nice and just looking for help.
Homeless people could be all types of races, sex. It's kind of hard to describe a typical one.
Almost angry in a way that society hasn't done them better, I feel. And I can't say that I blame them.
Addicted to something.
No job, or maybe a job but doesn't make enough to actually earn a living.
Begging for money. Usually find them sleeping on the sidewalks that I walk on.
If a homeless person asks me for money, I will give it to them if I can easily get it out of my pocket.
When someone asks for money, I typically do not, because I have no way of knowing whether or not there's a drug dependency or some type of dependency problem that's contributing to an individual being on the street.
It depends sometimes if I have it or how they ask me.
It depends. Typically, I give money to the people who are selling the street news, because I know that that's going to some sort of organization.
Well, no, because I work around this area and I see the homeless people every day, and that would just be $1 out of my pocket every day.
I wish I could help them, you know, every time I walk by, but I'd be broke too.
My name is Larry Hunt. They call me the Bucket Band. My band's called New Funk Generation Band with Brian Compton. And I'm from Kansas. I'm 54 years old today. I stayed at the Coronado Hotel. I moved out of there because, you know, the bugs and all that stuff. And then they had other things I didn't like about what they were doing. People was just getting beat up, robbed, so it's time to move out. And then I got shut down by the cops. I was homeless on the street for about a month and a half. Then my friend took me at his house, so I'm in Daly City with him. And I love it. It's paradise. Wake up in the morning, see another day, and I get up, come out here to go to work, and I stay here till 10 o'clock. From 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, I'm out here performing. Every now and then I'll go to Clyde and eat, you know, Cecil Williams, but every now and then I make enough money to eat. Go ahead, that's good, man. Thank you. That's what counts, man. That's what it counts, man. That's it. He's homeless. That guy right there just gave me some money. I helped him out the other day. He just came back and gave it back, you know. He didn't have to, because I know what it's like being on the street. I'm not begging for it, I'm working for it. And that's the key. You got to earn it, you got to get it. I don't have that much to offer, but if I can do it, you can do it. You just you got to keep the faith and believe in yourself. It ain't going to come to you. If you want to get off the street, you're going to find a way to get off the street. And I did.
Danny. My name is Danny. I am paying $800 for a shoebox. And I have to walk down the hallway to use the restroom. This is how I make my money after I pay my rent. I'm broke. So I sell these to, you know, sort of even it out where I can eat the Glide for dinner, St. Anthony's for lunch, and the Glide for breakfast. But hey, I'm not complaining. I guess I am, huh?
In 2001, I contracted an illness. I got very, very sick. And in 6 months, I lost my job, my housing, and my health, maybe a year. And I ended up in a situation in an SRO, which made me a lot sicker than I was already. And that's a big part of my story, is that I never anticipated becoming ill at such an early age, and when I did, everything went with it. I am paying rent in an SRO, and I haven't paid rent for most of my life. But what I'm going to say about them is I end up spending a lot of time away from it because it's a very dangerous situation for women. Many of them are very violent. It's really difficult to communicate the depth of, I think, the shock to your system, being medically ill, and also just losing all of your support systems. You're really not in touch with anything anymore that feels real. So it's a pretty hideous experience that I wouldn't wish on anyone. That includes the government that I think forgot about us.
My name is Clinton McCartney. I'm 56 years old, and I'm currently staying here and there. Well, I was 17 when I enlisted because my dad was still in the service, and I wanted to make him proud. This was 73, I think, and I was out by 77, and I worked as many jobs as I could, mostly construction. Actually, everything was going along just fine, and the roommate I had, he got sick, and when he got sick, he started like completely changing. You know, like I paid the first part of the month, and he did the second part. So when the 14th came this month, he decided, boom, you know, he was going to take off. And I came home and like the door was wide open and all my stuff was gone, all my clothes were gone. You know, so I thought, what do I do? Deal with it. You know, it's bad decision making on my part. It's only been like 8 days. I get 2 different checks. You know, I get one from the VA and I get one from SSI. It's like, I'll be okay in a couple of weeks, I'll have money, you know, of course the first thing I'm going to do is pay rent somewhere. So I'm not really worried about that, I'm just worried about between now and then, you know. I'm lucky for the most part, you know. A lot of my friends are either dead or in prison, or they're hooked on heroin, or, you know, something really bad. It's scary.
Homelessness is a major issue in San Francisco. I say that everyone that lives or visits San Francisco becomes an expert in homelessness because you see it, it's very visible on our streets. Many neighborhoods are so frustrated because they're dealing with the chronically homeless individuals and they feel as though some of the programs aren't working. Fundamentally, homelessness is an offshoot of poverty.
We're one of the most expensive cities to live in the entire country. Maybe being able to afford housing is something that you're able to achieve, but then being able to afford food and medical care and transportation can be a huge struggle. And we've had a recession where we've had to make some fairly significant cuts to programs that serve homeless people.
When Mayor Lee sat down and said, would you consider doing this job? I've known the 3 or 4 people that have done this job throughout my 20 years, and they've often become the mayor's director of homelessness, czar of homelessness, and these are titles that I said to the mayor that I didn't want. I said, at 57, I don't want to be the director of losing. And when people hear the word homelessness, they think of failure. And so I asked the mayor if we could talk about a job that would be more aspirational and really speak to the citizens. And so we came up with HOPE, which is housing opportunity, partnership, and engagement. Housing opportunity is the fact that the city offers shelters, supportive housing, public and affordable housing. 10 or 15 years ago, that we would provide people that were homeless with substance abuse treatment. It's not very effective when you're helping somebody during the day and turning them back onto the streets at night. We in San Francisco have changed some of the policies we've had. We've become a housing first city, and that means that we focus on getting people housed and then moving on to try and treat some of the situations that are causing them to be homeless. And so what we've done is really focused on the city master leasing many of what are called the single room occupancy hotels, where individuals are living in a room basically. Partnerships is really about the ability of businesses and individuals to be involved in addressing homelessness. We've given a tax benefit to technology companies. Twitter is coming into that area, Zendesk is in that area, and so these are companies now that want to make investments because they are moving into a neighborhood where their neighbors, many of whom are homeless, and they want to do more.
One of the best parts of working at St. Anthony's is getting to know the people who are part of Father Alfred Center and who have suffered with addiction and are now going through recovery.
So what I'm interested in doing is partnering both with the sheriff and our adult probation department in opening up a charter school, because what I saw was passionate teachers that were so excited to engage and excite and to energize their students, similar to the teaching that I've seen at JCHS. And it is transformative engagement. And so for me, that's engaging the public. It's having the opportunity to talk to you about your senior project. And it's so important to be part of the solution. And there's so many wonderful things you can do. If you support St. Anthony's, if you support Glide, if you support Larkin Street Youth Services, you are directly affecting in trying and helping to end homelessness. And I think that that is a great way to do it.
We believe that an end to homelessness is really possible. And I've seen it happen on an individual level for homeless people. You know, I've seen homelessness end for Barbara. I've seen homelessness end for Tony. We really need to be developing more housing that's affordable to people in the lowest 30% of income in the city. The city needs to be accessible to everyone.
So panhandling is a major question in San Francisco, and the number one thing I'd say is if you're aggressively panhandled or if you feel someone has been threatening to you in that, I would look for a police officer.
I think that dignity and respect should be a mantra that communities as a whole use in terms of responding to the problem of homelessness. Sometimes people treat people who are asking for money like garbage. Really the bottom line in interacting with people on the street is, number one, to be true to your idea of whether or not you want to give people money, whether or not you can, and whether or not you feel comfortable knowing that that person is going to use it in a way that you might not agree with. But I always can give a smile, a nod, and I'm sorry. I'd say 99% of the time, the response that I get is, thank you for smiling at me, or thank you for talking to me, or thank you for answering my question. I think that we have the greatest chance to get the closest we possibly can to ending homelessness only if we involve the homeless people, the people who are experiencing the problem, in the solution. We want to see a day where we don't have to have our dining room anymore because people are able to, you know, feed themselves and take care of themselves and be self-sufficient.
I have to say, to the question you asked earlier, how I've changed in this job, I probably have given more money out on the street than I have ever before. I've tried to recognize that I need to open myself up to their possibility, not be cynical, just let myself be on a journey.